Despised ex-human pilot buys a scrapped alien ship, unaware it can talk. Once he had been the pride of Earth's space fleet, a pilot who could maneuver through asteroid belts blindfolded and land a shuttle with millimeter precision. Now, his reputation was a joke. Human colonies whispered about him in bars and spaceports, calling him reckless, washed up, and dangerous. Jax preferred to laugh it off, but deep down, he knew he had hit rock bottom. The small, crowded auction hall smelled of metal and engine oil. Humans were a rare sight here among the aliens, tall, shimmering beings with multiple limbs and glowing eyes, delicate and precise in their movements, who looked at Jax as if he were a stray dog sniffing through their elegant bazaar. Jax ignored the glares. He had one goal: find a cheap ship he could flip for a quick profit or, if lucky, a usable ride for himself. "Next up," boomed the auctioneer, a short, insectoid alien with 3 eyes that blinked independently. "Lot 227. A collection of scrap starships, very old, very questionable, and cheap." Jax squinted at the line of ships. Most were rusty, missing panels, or dented from years of neglect. He ran a hand along the hull of a small freighter. It hummed slightly beneath his fingertips. Not bad, but nothing exciting. Then he saw it. The ship was unlike any he had ever seen. Sleek, black, with smooth curves that seemed alive. Its surface shimmered faintly, as if reflecting light that wasn't really there. Strange symbols were etched along the hull, moving subtly as if breathing. Jax felt a shiver of excitement. This was no ordinary scrap. It had to be alien, and it had to be powerful. He pushed through the crowd, ignoring the sharp looks of alien bidders. "What's the starting bid?" he asked. The auctioneer clicked his mandibles. 10,000 credits, proceed carefully, human." Jax grinned. 10,000 credits was nothing for a ship that looked like it could outrun most patrols. He raised his hand. 10,000. A few alien bidders whispered to each other. Jax watched, feigning calm, while his heart thumped like a drum. 15,000, said a tall, serpentine alien with skin that gleamed like mercury. 20, Jax countered, leaning forward, the auctioneer's many eyes fixed on him. 25, said another bidder. Jax clenched his teeth. He didn't have much more, but he had to have this ship. 30, he said, trying to sound confident. A pause. The aliens looked at one another. None raised their hands. The auctioneer tilted his head. Sold. 30,000 credits to the human. Jax felt his stomach twist with relief. He had no idea how he would pay for it, but somehow he would manage. That was always his way. Back at the hangar, Jax inspected his new prize. Up close, it was even stranger. The hull seemed to shift with his movements, as though the ship was aware of him. He touched the surface, and the shimmer pulsed softly under his fingertips. He could hear the faint hum of energy inside the vessel, though no engines ran. "This is beautiful," he muttered. "And probably illegal for me to own." Jax climbed into the cockpit, a tight space with no visible buttons or switches. The panels were smooth, glowing faintly beneath his palms. He waved his hand over a control, and the ship responded. A holographic screen flickered to life. A strange symbol rotated in the air before him. "Okay," he said cautiously. "How do I start you?" The symbol shimmered, then another appeared. A blinking dot formed into a smiley face. Jax blinked. "Right, very funny." He tapped the screen again. Nothing happened. He shook his head, laughing at the absurdity. "Great, a fancy haunted ship, just what I needed." Jax had grown used to working with outdated human technology, but this was on another level. He explored the cockpit, pressing panels, swiping along glowing lines. At first nothing seemed to happen, but gradually the ship began responding in small, subtle ways. Lights pulsed as he moved his hands. Soft humming followed his steps. Hours passed. Jax tried every trick he knew. He attempted a manual override, a startup sequence, anything that might ignite the engines. Sparks flew from a panel, and a screen flickered to life with a single line of text. "Pilot, do you even know what you've bought?" Jax froze. His heart skipped a beat. He rubbed his eyes, convinced he was hallucinating. Did that just talk?" he whispered. "Yes," said the calm alien voice, not loud, not aggressive, but oddly amused. "I am Ian, and you are human." Jax laughed nervously. "Right, sure. I've had a long day, and now my ship talks to me. Perfect." He leaned back in the chair, trying to steady his racing heart. "Okay, Ian, if you're real, you better have instructions, or I swear," Ian hummed. "Instructions are useless. You must learn." Jax pinched the bridge of his nose. "Learn what? How to fly a ship I can't even understand." "You will see," Ian replied simply, "or fail trying." For the first few hours, Jax experimented carefully. Ian's responses were subtle at first. Lights that pulsed faster when he moved correctly, panels that shifted to offer new surfaces, and tiny adjustments to controls that seemed almost helpful. Jax began to realize that this ship was not only alive but intelligent and playful. "You're enjoying this, aren't you?" Jax muttered. "Observation is entertaining," Ian replied. Jax laughed aloud. The sound echoed in the cockpit. "I should have known. No alien tech is ever boring, huh?" Ian was silent for a moment then. "You are reckless but clever." "That is unusual." The compliment made Jax smirk. He hadn't felt respected in years, not by humans and certainly not by aliens. "Well," he said, leaning back in the seat, "I've always been clever, just misunderstood mostly." Ian seemed to consider this. "Misunderstood, often underestimated. This may be useful." Jax spent the next day learning the ship's systems, or at least trying to. Ian tested him with riddles and subtle challenges. Sometimes a panel would appear, offering options he didn't understand. Sometimes the ship would drift slightly toward the vacuum of space on its own, forcing him to react quickly. Despite the frustration, Jax began to feel something he hadn't felt in years: pride. Ian was pushing him, but in a way that acknowledged human skill. The ship respected cleverness, not titles or species. He practiced maneuvers in the hangar, dodging structural pillars and narrow tunnels. Ian commented occasionally, "Predictable." The bond was strange but real. Ian's amusement was unmistakable. As night fell, Jack stood outside the ship, looking at the dark hull reflecting the dim hangar lights. He could feel Ian's presence even from the outside. "You're different," he said aloud. "I've never met a ship like you. Maybe I'm not done yet. Maybe humans aren't completely useless." Ian's voice came from inside, calm and steady. "You will see, soon." Jax didn't know what that meant. He only knew one thing. For the first time in a long time, he felt alive, excited, ready, cliffhanger. Outside the hangar, distant stars sparkled like diamonds in the void. Ian spoke again, voice low and serious. "Pilot, we are leaving soon. Do not be afraid. But know this, the galaxy does not expect humans to succeed." "Are you ready to prove them wrong?" Jax grinned. "Afraid? Nah, let's see what humans can do." With that, the ship hummed to life, lights dancing across the hull. Jax felt a thrill run through him. Something told him that life as a despised, washed-up pilot was over. Something far bigger awaited, and Ian was going to take him there. The stars beyond the hangar seemed to pulse in response. Jax tightened his grip on the controls, and for the first time in years, he smiled without reservation. The adventure had begun. Jax Marlowe's heart raced as the hangar doors slid open. The vast blackness of space stretched out before him, dotted with stars like distant fires. Ian's hull glimmered faintly, reacting to the light as though alive. The ship hummed softly beneath him, a sound that seemed almost like breathing. "All right," Jax said, gripping the controls. "Let's see if you can actually fly." Ian's voice filled the cockpit, calm and amused. "Flying is only half the challenge. Learning is the other half. Are you ready, human?" "I was born ready," Jax muttered, trying to hide how nervous he really was. He had piloted hundreds of ships, but nothing like this. Ian's alien design defied every instinct he had. The controls were smooth, almost invisible, responding to thought as much as touch. "Focus," Ian said. Do not think like a human, think like the vessel, Jax blinked. Right, think like the vessel, easy. He twisted his hand and Ian shifted smoothly, rotating in a perfect arc through the hangar. Jax's jaw dropped. He had done that. He hadn't even touched a lever. You are learning, Ian said. Faster than I anticipated. Jax laughed nervously, gripping the console. Anticipated, huh? Well, I've always been full of surprises. For the next several hours, Jax and Ian practiced together. The ship guided him through complex maneuvers, loops, sudden accelerations, and spiraling turns around simulated asteroid fields projected in the cockpit. Ian challenged him, sometimes reacting unpredictably. Every mistake caused a gentle correction, but Ian never scolded him. It only tested him further. You are stubborn, Ian observed after a particularly rough spin, and clever, a rare combination. Jax wiped sweat from his brow, grinning. Stubborn, maybe. Clever, I'll take it. Your species has potential, Ian continued. If guided properly, humans could accomplish remarkable feats. Jax's heart skipped a beat. That was more praise than he had heard from any human commander in years. Guided properly, huh? He said. Well, that makes two of us, Ian. As they practiced, Ian revealed more of its abilities. Holographic projections appeared in the cockpit, showing star systems Jax had never seen. Alien symbols scrolled across the panels, rearranging themselves into patterns he could barely comprehend. Can you explain this? Jax asked, pointing at a glowing diagram. Ian's tone was almost teasing. Understanding comes through doing, not seeing. You will learn as you go. Jax gritted his teeth, determined. He traced the symbols with his fingers, trying to follow the flow of energy and light. At first, nothing happened. Then, slowly, the ship responded. Lights pulsed in rhythm with his touch. Panels shifted to reveal new surfaces, and Ian's voice said, Clever, not perfect, but clever, keep going. Jax smiled. It felt like a game now, an alien puzzle designed just for him. Days passed, and Jax's confidence grew. He began to trust Ian, and Ian, in turn, began to trust Jax's instincts. Together, they navigated asteroid belts, danced through comet tails, and raced past abandoned space stations. Ian would sometimes give cryptic hints. A human would try this, try something else. He learned to improvise, to use mistakes as tools, to read Ian's subtle cues. The bond between pilot and ship strengthened. You're actually fun, Ian said one evening, its voice softening. For a human, Jax laughed, leaning back. I've got my moments. Glad you're finally noticing. Then came the day Ian brought them to the edge of known space. Jax squinted at the glowing map projected before him. Ian had shown him coordinates of a lost alien archive, hidden in a remote nebula. No human had ever reached it. The archive was said to contain knowledge that could change the course of civilizations. You're taking me there? Jax asked. Why me? Ian hummed, lights pulsing around him. Because you are underestimated, and because humans think differently. Sometimes only an underestimated species can succeed where others fail. Jax's chest swelled with pride. So, I'm the chosen human, huh? Not bad. You are necessary, Ian said simply. The journey to the archive was treacherous. Nebulas twisted space in strange ways. Cosmic storms crackled with energy that could tear ships apart. Yet Ian guided Jax with patience, testing him with every maneuver. Don't overcorrect, Ian warned as they approached a swirling field of energy. Predict, adapt. Humans are weak when panicked. I'm not weak, Jax muttered, gripping the controls. I'm human, Ian hummed, almost in amusement. We shall see. Together they danced through the storm. Jax relied on his instincts, remembering old lessons from his days in the fleet, but Ian's guidance was crucial. They emerged on the other side, the nebula behind them glowing like molten glass. Jax exhaled, feeling more alive than ever. You are improving, Ian said. Faster than predicted. Humans are unpredictable, delightfully so. As they approached the coordinates, the alien archive came into view. Massive structures floated in space, made of materials that shimmered with colors Jax had no words for. Energy flows connected the towers, forming bridges of pure light. "This is incredible," Jax breathed. "No human has ever been here. How did you even find it?" Ian's voice was calm. "I am ancient. I remember what was lost. Few beings have survived my guidance to reach this place." Jax looked out at the alien wonder and felt a sense of awe. For the first time in years, he felt like he belonged somewhere. Not because of his rank, his reputation, or his past glory, but because of his cleverness, his persistence, his human intuition. Ian pulsed with light, almost like a heartbeat. "You must prove yourself. The archive is secure. Only a mind capable of understanding beyond fear and prejudice may access it." Jax nodded. "All right, challenge accepted." Inside the archive, the puzzles began. Alien mechanisms required more than technical skill. They required creativity, improvisation, and intuition. Ian guided him with cryptic advice, never giving direct answers. "Do not follow patterns blindly." Jax struggled at first, making errors that could have been disastrous. Panels shut down, energy flows reversed, and doors remained sealed. But he kept trying, combining his old pilot instincts with logic and improvisation. Slowly, he began to see patterns. Slowly, he began to understand the alien thought process. Ian watched silently. "You are impressive. I did not anticipate this level of ingenuity." Jax grinned, wiping sweat from his forehead. "Guess humans aren't as helpless as everyone says." Ian pulsed again. "You are necessary, perhaps more than I realized." Hours turned into a full day. Jax worked tirelessly, and Ian guided him just enough to prevent failure while still challenging him. Finally, a central panel glowed, and a massive holographic structure rose before them, a complete map of the archive, with knowledge of energy systems, star maps, and alien technology that humans had never imagined. Jack stared, dumbfounded. This is unbelievable." "Ian, we did it." Ian's voice softened. It is not your victory alone, human. You are clever, adaptable. You have succeeded where others would have failed." Jax felt a surge of pride. For the first time in years, he felt respected. Not by humans, not by alien critics, but by something intelligent, ancient, and beyond imagination. "You think humans can really understand this?" he asked. Ian's response was calm, almost approving. "They will if guided. They are underestimated, but underestimated species are dangerous when clever. You are an example, others may follow." Jax laughed aloud. "I like that, dangerous humans. Who knew?" Ian pulsed with light, almost like it was smiling. "You have potential, Jax Marlowe. Do not waste it." As they left the archive, Jax looked out at the stars. Ian hummed softly beside him, responsive to his every movement. For the first time, Jax felt a purpose beyond survival or money. Humans had been dismissed by the galaxy for too long, but he had just proved that one human, clever and determined, could succeed where the best alien minds had failed. And Ian, mysterious, teasing, intelligent, was ready to guide him further. The adventure was only beginning. Jax Marlowe leaned back in the cockpit, staring at the stars that stretched endlessly beyond Ian's hull. The alien archive was behind them, its glowing towers disappearing into the dark void of space. Yet Jax could feel that the true challenge was just beginning. Ian's lights pulsed softly like a heartbeat. "You're thinking ahead, Ian," Jax said. "I can feel it. Something big is coming." Ian's voice was calm, almost amused. "The galaxy watches, human, many eyes. Many judgments. You are no longer unnoticed." Jax frowned. "Oh, great. So now the universe expects me to fail spectacularly," Ian hummed. "Some do, others are surprised." Jax chuckled. That was human ingenuity in a nutshell, always proving others wrong. And now, it seemed, he had the chance to do it on a scale he had never imagined. As they approached a familiar system, the signals appeared. Alien ships, sleek, triangular vessels with mirrored hulls, were waiting. Jack squinted at the display. Their formation was precise, controlled. They had observed him entering the archive and were likely here to prevent humans from using what they had discovered. "Well, that's not welcoming," Jax muttered. Ian's lights pulsed faster. "They underestimate you, human." "That is your advantage. Use it." Jax gritted his teeth. "All right, let's show them what humans can do." The first encounter was subtle. The alien ships approached in formation, scanning Ian and Jax. Jax had learned Ian's patterns, how the ship responded to his instinctive movements. Together, they danced through the formation, dodging energy fields and moving unpredictably. The aliens expected traditional maneuvers, but Jax used improvisation, slipping through gaps that Ian highlighted subtly. "You think too rigidly," Ian said to the enemy pilots through a whispered telepathic signal only it could broadcast. "Humans think differently." Jax laughed aloud. "Did you hear that? Even the ship is gloating." The aliens, frustrated, attempted to trap them in a coordinated net, but Jax's human intuition, guessing patterns, reacting with improvisation, allowed him to guide Ian through the trap effortlessly. Each move Ian suggested felt natural, but every human touch added a creative twist the aliens did not expect. By the time the enemy ships disengaged, Jax felt exhilarated. "Did we just outsmart them?" he asked. Ian's tone was approving. "Yes, clever humans, dangerous indeed." Jax grinned. "I told you, never underestimate us." As they traveled further, the alien archive's secrets began to reveal themselves. Ian unlocked systems within the ship that could manipulate energy flows, map new star systems, and even project holographic simulations of alien tech. Jax explored them eagerly, testing every function. The ship responded with subtle amusement. "You are fearless, human." Few would dare experiment so boldly. "I'm not fearless," Jax said. "I'm stubborn, but it works the same, right?" Ian pulsed with light. "Yes, your species' stubbornness is useful. You adapt in ways others cannot predict. That is why you survive." Jax felt a surge of pride. For years, humans had been dismissed as weak, slow, or inferior. And yet here he was, outsmarting advanced alien systems, navigating dangerous space fields, and unlocking technology no other species had been able to access. Then came the test. Ian led Jax to the central hub of the archive, a massive sphere floating in space, radiating energy in colors humans had no names for. Access was blocked by alien security protocols that required complex manipulation. Ian offered guidance, but Jax had to think creatively. Panels shifted, projections rose, and energy flows snaked around him. Traditional logic failed. He had to experiment, try what seemed impossible, and trust his instincts. Hours passed. Mistakes were frequent. Energy barriers flared and shut down access in ways Jax had not anticipated. Yet he persisted, adapting every failure into a solution. Ian guided subtly, never giving direct answers. "Human," Ian said finally, "you are exceptional. I underestimated your species' ingenuity." Jax grinned. "You underestimated humans in general. Don't feel bad, it's kind of our thing." With one final improvisation, redirecting an energy stream through a sequence Ian had never suggested, the central hub opened. A holographic projection filled the cockpit, a complete archive of alien technology, energy systems, star charts, and knowledge of civilizations long forgotten. Jax's eyes widened. This is everything. The galaxy, it's ours to understand now." Ian's voice softened. "Not yours alone, human, but you are capable. You are proof that humans deserve respect." Word of Jax and Ian's success spread faster than they could imagine. Other alien observers who had dismissed humanity began to watch more closely. Jax realized that humans had been underestimated across the galaxy, not because they were weak, but because no one had paid attention to their creativity, their ability to improvise, and their stubborn courage. "You know, Ian," Jax said, leaning back in the cockpit, "we might just be starting a trend. Humans as serious players in the galaxy. Who would have thought? Ian pulsed in agreement. You are delightful. I have underestimated humans for too long. Perhaps they are more than I imagined. Not just more than you imagined, Jax said, smiling. We're humans and we're stubbornly brilliant. With the archive fully unlocked, Jax began experimenting. He mapped new star systems, explored dormant alien tech, and devised new travel routes humans had never considered. Ian assisted subtly, guiding him without giving away everything. The aliens who had once observed them began to approach differently, some cautiously, some with curiosity, and a few even with grudging respect. Jax realized something important. Humans were unpredictable, unconventional, and that unpredictability was their strength. You've done more than survive, human, Ian said. You've proven that humans can achieve what others fail to even attempt. Cleverness, creativity, adaptability, these traits will allow your species to thrive. Jax laughed. All we needed was a chance, and a ship that can talk. Not bad, huh? Ian hummed, lights pulsing with amusement. Not bad at all. You have exceeded expectations. You are extraordinary. As they returned from the archive, Jax reflected on everything he had accomplished. Once despised, once laughed at, he was now recognized as clever and capable, even by ancient, intelligent ships like Ian. Humans were not inferior. They were underestimated, and underestimated species were dangerous. Jax tightened his grip on the controls. Ian, let's see how far we can really go. The galaxy isn't ready for humans like us yet, but we'll show them anyway. Ian pulsed brightly. Yes, let them watch. Let them see what humans can do. Jax laughed aloud, the sound echoing in the cockpit. The stars outside seemed to shimmer in response, as if recognizing the small human pilot who had dared to defy expectations. Who says humans can't be brilliant? Jax muttered. We're just getting started. And with that, Ian accelerated, leaving trails of light across the blackness of space. The adventure was far from over. Humans had been underestimated for too long, and now, with one clever pilot and a sentient ship, the galaxy was about to learn exactly what humans were capable of. The stars stretched endlessly ahead, and Jax knew this was only the beginning. For the first time in years, he felt truly alive, truly respected, and truly unstoppable. The despised ex-human pilot had found his place among the stars, and the galaxy would never forget the brilliance of humans again.